Hey Doc, I had a rough week last week and I want to share a little bit about it because it goes through some of the techniques that I use when I am overwhelmed because I was very overwhelmed last week. So I worked a lot. So starting 2 weeks ago, I was on call like 4 times in 5 days, which was the first time that I had done that. And I do 12 hours nights and when I did it, I was like, not doing that again." And that was away in LA. Traveled back, and then I got called in to do 2 emergency shifts at my local site. And because we are kind of in push mode because we have a lot of vacations coming up, we're gonna be in Trinidad for a month in December. We're like, "Okay, yes, I got a great incentive. I'm gonna do it." Also probably not the best idea, but like, hey, these trips don't pay for themselves. I have to buy, not I have to, we want to buy a washer dryer for my mom. Let's just do some extra shifts. And the week that was following, my husband's going out of town. He's going back to New Jersey to see his parents. Also, my au pair, who had been here for then 2 weeks, was starting her third week, and we've been having some challenges. So it was a perfect setup for overwhelm. And on Sunday night, after I had then done 7 calls in like 11 days, maybe 6 or 7, I don't remember. The last one that ended with 6 deliveries, a shoulder, and a postpartum hemorrhage. And I realized I had not planned my week at all. I had an interview for VA. I was going to be solo parenting. I was like, I felt the pressure rising. So I messaged my coach and I was like, yeah, I'm on the precipice of overwhelm right now. And she was like, okay, what can you do to back off of the edge? And that question in and of itself made me feel overwhelmed. So I promptly put my phone down and went to sleep. And then I woke up the next morning. I was like, okay, he's gone. I still have to be on. What can I do to help myself? And usually when I wake up, I have a cup of tea and then I do some gratitude. Like I like to start with gratitude journaling, which is a new morning routine that I started in the last couple of months, but I really like to start that way. And I was like, you know what? Gratitude is a very good way for me to battle these feelings because all of the stuff that I have going on is actually good. It's actually things that are helping my life head in the direction that I wanted to. So I worked all those locum shifts so that I can travel for 2 months. I am out of traditional employed medicine because I made the choice because I was burnt out and I'm no longer burnt out. So yes, I pushed a little bit hard, but I'm really thankful that I'm no longer employed and that I can control my schedule. I can negotiate for high incentives. I can decide, yeah, I'm not going to work in December and go back home for a month. So I am truly grateful for that. I am really grateful that I have an au pair who is just here to help me care for my children while I build this dream life with my husband. Even though, even though she's taking so much of my energy, so much of my time, I am so grateful because it could be a lot worse. I could have no childcare, or I could have a really expensive part-time nanny because that's all we could afford, or, right? So I am grateful. I am grateful that my husband loves his parents so much and it's one of the things that made me want to marry him is his relationship with his mother. It's not like a weird mother-son relationship. It is beautiful and with both of his parents. And because of that relationship, that's why he had to go and leave me to solo parent. And I also leave him when I go to locum. So, it's fair. But I am grateful for that. So you see my point, right? So I went through and just wrote down everything that was adding to how I was feeling. And I tried to find, and not try like it was so difficult. I just thought about it. And I was like, you know what? I am actually grateful that I have. These are good problems to have. And because I was so inspired, I wrote my newsletter for that morning about all of that because I know a lot of you feel overwhelmed sometimes. And it's just like, well, what do I do? So as I'm typing up my newsletter, my smoke alarm starts beeping. Not like it was going off, but like the battery. And that thing is loud. As I look over to it, I realize that that curtain you see behind me is a foot lower than it was supposed to be, which means it's falling. At the same time, my daughter started crying. This is like 5 a.m. I was like, you have to be effing kidding me right now. I am trying to be grateful. I am trying to get out of overwhelm, not roll down that hill. What is going on? So I was like, oh, get it together. You don't have a choice. Figure it out. So I went and spent a very sweaty 45 minutes trying to, well, first of all, trying to find the battery for the smoke alarm. Thankfully, we had one. Then trying to get the curtain back up. That is a two-person job, BC dubs. And it fell a couple times on me. Yeah, so it was fun. But I showered, came back, it was fine, finished my newsletter, sent it out, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm backing away from the edge. And so I shared with my email list how to use gratitude to get away from overwhelm. But then I also wanted to follow up because as the day progressed, I was like tumbling down the hill, like over the precipice, over the edge, because I homeschool my son. So I spend the first couple hours in the morning with him until 10 o'clock when the au pair starts. So I was going through some of his things to just organize some stuff because he got the new curriculum. And as I'm going through his cupboard, I'm finding like empty boxes, random papers. So I'm realizing my old au pair, as he got stuff, she would open it and just stick the empty boxes and basically trash back in the cupboards. And I was just like, what's going on here? Like, is this for real? And this is an area that I had an organizer come when I was pregnant with my daughter and then again after. So everything is in a container that has labels, like, and also is trash. Like, it was very clear that it was not supposed to be in there. That coupled with just the normal things of my new au pair being new and the frustrations that come with that, I was just like, you have to be kidding me. Like, I cannot handle this right now. So as that is brewing, I get a message from my coach. She's like, yeah, do you want to just postpone today's session? Because that's the other thing I didn't mention. I was starting the week with all of those things in the background. And then I also had 4 meetings. I had my personal coaching, I had an interview for my VA, and two of my coaching clients. So it's just like, I really need to be at the top of my game. So when I saw that message from her saying, should we postpone? I was like, yes, 100%. Because I had those thoughts on Sunday, but I was talked out of it. And it was just like she gave me permission to do what I should have done before, which was say, I need a break. So I was like, yes, we're going to postpone. And I'm also going to cancel the interview for my new VA. And it was only a couple hours before it started. I felt really bad. I think it was very unprofessional, but I knew I would not have had a good interview. I wouldn't be focused. I couldn't bring my best self. So it was really better to just cancel and reschedule than to proceed that way because I need to find a good hire. So interviewing like that was just not a good option. So I found myself with a couple hours of free time where I could have tackled my to-do list, get things done. But instead I laid on that couch back there and I meditated. And I was just like, I need to come back down. And I'm kind of tired because I still haven't really gotten much sleep being post call for all those days. So if I fall asleep, great. That I set an alarm, fine. And that was exactly what I needed in that moment. And I was able to show up for my coaching clients at my best, and everything was fine. And then when I got to my kids in the evening, they got happy mommy because I gotten that moment of time for myself. So, yeah, sometimes gratitude doesn't work, or sometimes it's not enough, I should say. And they're different things that we can do. And I feel like, especially coming from a coach, you know, It's like, oh yeah, practice gratitude. It's like, stop with that toxic positivity nonsense. Like, gratitude will not help me. It can in certain circumstances. And then sometimes you need more. So I use a couple different things, reaching out to my support system, which was my coach. Even though I didn't technically reach out to her, we are in such constant contact that she knew what was going on and she could sense, mainly by the fact that I did not answer when she asked how I could back off from the precipice of overwhelm. But having that support there was invaluable. I knew that I should have canceled, but her, giving me that permission, quote unquote, was really helpful. Right. So who can you reach out to give you support, even if it's just a listening ear so you can vent or not even to get advice, just so somebody can hear you and empathize with you. Right? And then my favorite is to retreat into yourself and not like in a wallowing, woe is me, even though I do believe that that is important sometimes for a set amount of time, but going into yourself to take care of yourself. And it should come as no surprise that one of my remedies for overwhelm is self care because it is. And that's what I did when I went to meditate. I just needed to not have to talk to anybody, to not have to answer any questions, not have to care for anybody, not to be on or anything. I needed a break. And at that moment, meditating slash sleeping was what I needed. Right. So those are the tools that I use. The one that I couldn't necessarily use was to call in for reinforcements, which would have been my husband, like a physical person. Like that wouldn't have really helped me on that day during the week because the rest of the week remained a challenge. But these are all things that you can use. And I know what you're thinking. You don't work traditionally, Dr. Toya. Yes. But I will tell you, this is not just something that I came up with as I left traditional medicine and started doing locums. I used to do this when I was still employed, and it's called a mental health day, right? So if I was just at the brink or even rolling down the hill of overwhelm, I would call out. I would take a sick day and cancel clinic. I don't think I ever canceled a surgery day because I actually loved my surgery days and that was something that I enjoyed. But I do believe that you can cancel slash delay surgeries if you are at that point. I know it's a hard sell, but your patients deserve to have a physician cutting them open who is fully present, fully focused, relaxed. Like, wouldn't you want your surgeon to be like that if you needed surgery? Yeah, so if you are so overwhelmed that it's just like you feel like you're going to break, like you are exhausted, you are whatever else. Yeah, I think they would appreciate knowing that you decided that it was the best thing to not operate today, or at least to give yourself a little bit of a break. It's like that story a couple weeks ago where the pilot was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it, and canceled the flight. And everybody was like, good. If my pilot is not feeling it, let's cancel. I don't want to go with you. I think it's the same thing. But we have this kind of idea that, we cannot call out, we cannot cancel. Patients will be mad. This can't delay. This patient has cancer. This patient has an emergency. There are other people that can take care of it. I promise you. Because if you stepped out of your house and got hit by a car, knock on wood, they would find somebody else. They would figure it out. So this is not like a flippant thing where it's just like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to go into work today. Yeah, I don't want to do the surgery. I'm canceling. Being overwhelmed, feeling like you're drowning, being too exhausted to think, that's an emergency. That's something that needs to be dealt with. So you taking a mental health day is not out of reach because you're fully employed or whatever other reason you can think of, where when you hear me say it, you're like, nah, I can't do that. Or you're crazy. No, you can do it. I promise you. And then there's the reaching out, right? Do you have a helpful, warm body that can come and help you out. Like, if the rest of the week continued to be terrible, there were people that I could call to come and just give me an extra hand. I didn't need it because I knew what I needed to do to take care of myself. So for the rest of the week, I did not show up for a lot of things. I was not online. I canceled things. I didn't do a whole lot of work. I just took the time to rest and save my energy for dealing with my au pair because I knew I had to ration the energy. So I couldn't give it to every single thing. And I knew my main reinforcement, my main man, was not coming back until Thursday. So I did what I had to do. So I hope this was helpful for you and it was inspirational for you, mainly to call out. You can do it. I promise you. You have sick days for a reason. But seriously, though, utilize these different options when everything just feels like it's too much. So hopefully you can get to a place where you can at least come up for air and then think about, what do I need to change in my life, in my daily routine, so that I don't get to this point again, or I don't get here so often. So for me, I know I'm not doing that many shifts in a row again. I don't care how much money they're paying me. It's not happening. I am too old. I have too many kids and too many other things going on. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation again. For you, it could be something else. What do you need to change? Because being in that chronic state of overwhelm is also unsustainable. Okay. All right. So let me know if this was helpful for you. Send me a message in that little box below where it says, message me now or whatever it says. Send me a DM, send me a PM, join Stethoscopes and Strollers. I would love to have you in there for a great community that will uplift you and help you when you're having those moments of overwhelm. It's a positive space where we love our husbands, even though we want to strangle them sometimes, where we love childcare and outsourcing and negotiating and all the things that are leading you to your dream life. It is a wonderful community, and I would love to have you in there. And if you feel like you need a little bit more, you just need that kind of support, like that my coach gave to me. Schedule a free coaching session. The link is in the show notes and on my website. Let me tell you, that support is unmatched, and I model it for all of my clients. And it was exactly what I needed to start this week off. And I want that for you too. So I will see you on the next episode of Stethoscopes and Strollers.